Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the High Frequency Kicks podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, I am ready.
Awesome.
I think it's funny every time we clap sync that neither of us can hear it.
I can't hear your sync. I have to I have to look at my I look at my Audacity to make sure it actually blips.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Okay.
So I can't tell. I can't tell like when you do it or you can't tell when I do it. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but that's why we have Audacity. It shows us. It's all good. How's it going?
Good. It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. Last podcast.
You know how I know? You know how I know? Because
how?
the last time we spoke, I had just touched up my roots, and I just touched them up again recently. So I know it's been roughly 6 to 8 weeks.
That's how you measure intervals in time now.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I know it's been a while because I'm not in my normal room anymore. Again, I'm somewhere else. That's why there's a chalkboard behind me.
Are you in your new workout area?
I'm in my home gym. Yeah.
Right on.
With I'll angle the camera up a little bit so you can see. That's probably backwards on the footage anyways. But anyways, who cares? I'm in my home gym because the den is being renovated and actually finished finally. So probably actually by the next podcast, that room will be a room and have floors, and it's already got a ceiling now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm extremely pumped to have that room finished. And not
having to fix rooms is the worst. Sorry, I'm plugging in my mouse right now. I forgot.
That's fine. You do you. Yeah, it's been because it's not finished. It's kind of been if we need to just store things someplace, it kind of goes there. So once the room's finished, because it's supposed to be one part, like one half of the room is my office, the other half is kind of our gaming nerd stuff part of the house. So it'd be nice to have that all out of boxes now that we've lived here for over a year and unpacked.
I hate that whole awkward everything's packed up.
Yeah.
So, and yours is just prolonged.
It is. It's been a while, but hey, it's almost done. Almost done.
Woo!
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, but hey, the gym has come along nicely. And I've got a chalk wall. I've got a student.
Wow. How's it going with your student?
It's going fantastic. He's loving it. He's a friend of mine that wanted to do classes because he's getting ready for the RCMP test, the physical test, and so he's done some other standing styles, some martial arts, some wrestling, and some boxing, but he hasn't done a kicking art. So we wanted to add some kicking and some cardio stuff into his routine. So
that is a good idea to mix it up.
Yeah,
and expand your I don't know,
your horizons.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, I have something interesting that I want to talk about. I'm gonna bring this up real quick. You know how I've been really fascinated by the analytics on the podcast now that I actually have access to that?
Yes.
That's the thing that I can do, and I look at that still quite often. So we both live in Canada. This is 100% a Canadian-made podcast.
Wow.
Canada has, I don't think, ever been in the number one spot of most listeners to this podcast. Consistently number 2. However, briefly a couple weeks ago, was briefly in 3rd place.
Oh no.
That German audience has really picked up the slack.
Oh really?
Yeah. So let me I'll pull it up right now. Actually, I find this just fascinating.
So we have more German audience now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. From what I can tell, I mean, again, this is not like a terribly in-depth breakdown, but it's got like numbers and percentages and stuff like that. So
it has numbers and things.
There's numbers, and the numbers, get bigger and smaller, and they mean things, and I don't know what they mean. But
that was me in math class.
Yeah. No, that's accurate. Me too. The United States is still the first, so apparently 52% of our listeners are from the U.S. Canada has 24% of our listeners. Germany is currently sitting at 21%.
Oh, wow.
And there was a point where Germany was at 23% and Canada was at 20%. So the Canadian audience is not chipping in as much as they used to be. Or we're just gaining a lot more German audience. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, either way, we should bug our Canadian friends to guilt them into listening to us.
We should. Point of interest. We also have listeners, apparently, from Japan, the Bahamas, the Philippines, and Austria.
Oh, can the listeners from the Bahamas please let me know how much better it is there than it is here?
What's their weather like? I look at this a lot. I'm genuinely fascinated by this. I wish a lot of people don't disclose information, obviously, because you don't have to. If you don't want to disclose things, don't. It's fun when people do disclose things. I get information, so I can see like gender ratios and age ratios and demographics, and it's really interesting to me. Because
what kind of age ratios do we have?
So only 30% apparently of our listeners have actually disclosed their age on whatever service they're using. So the only number I have is 23 to 27-year-olds is 30% of our audience.
Kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? Like that's genuinely like childs to us. 70% of our audience has not disclosed their gender identity. 20% is male and 10% is female. But again, 70% could be either, could be non-binary, could be, I don't know, could be anything. But no, actually non-binary is a field here and that is 0%. I don't know. Not specified. It's 70%.
All right, good to know.
I just think this is really cool. I love looking at this stuff. Just because I'm a nerd about that. It's just fun to look at. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. So congratulations to Germany for beating out Canada for a little while and listening to our podcast. We love you.
Oh, love you, Germany. Thank you. And the others.
And yeah, and everyone else, pick up the slack. I think that's all I had for preamble today. Did you have something else you want to talk about? Did you have a sandwich or something you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about my sandwich.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I don't know, I've been making these sandwiches. Okay, here's what it is. And I know that people probably eat these things regularly, but I'm hopping on the train, okay? So I have a whole wheat bagel and lettuce and avocado. I'm like a new avocado fan. Then I put avocado, egg, and then cheese, but like a real cheese slice, like not a Kraft single.
What kind of cheese we're talking about here? We're talking like Swiss or like aged cheddar or...
Today it was Swiss, but that's because usually I get with like habanero spices inside.
Oh, nice.
But they didn't have that at the store, so I have Swiss.
Like a nice Havarti cheese.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, nice. I really want a sandwich press.
Like one of those, like like a grill thing. Psst.
Yeah, you can get them at like Canadian Tire.
Right on.
Or Walmart.
You should get one that burns a picture into the sandwich.
Darth Vader.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we had my old office where I used to work used to have a sandwich press, or had a sandwich press, and the team that I was on, we had a little grilled cheese club, and once a month the next person in line would make grilled cheese for everyone on our team, and so you'd come in and you'd make a fancy grilled cheese, and you look up like
You
fancy ways to make a grilled cheese sandwich, and you use the sandwich press in the kitchen at the office, and it was fun.
You mean pretentious way to make a grilled cheese?
Yes, but holy smoke! If you, we are not at all on a martial arts topic at all so far. But I don't care. If you actually go down the rabbit hole on the internet of like grilled cheese varieties, like that is a rabbit hole you can go down for days.
I mean, you could basically you could sit there and just come up with, you could put anything in it, really.
Yes, And I
So,
love it. I made
like, we could
my
sit here
first-
like friggin' Forrest Gump and talk
This-
and just rattle off a million different grilled cheeses.
We could easily roll this into a grilled cheese podcast, which I'm not entirely opposed to. If like every episode just make a different grilled cheese and talk about it, like I'm kind of okay with that.
Like, talk about martial arts / eat a grilled cheese. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
not
when you
against
get your
this.
sandwich. Maybe when you get your and then we could rename it to kick-ass sandwiches or something.
Oh.
Okay, when you get your sandwich press,
Yeah.
we can do it, and I can make one in my George Foreman grill.
Yeah, George Foreman works.
Yeah.
No, like there's I spent some time looking up grilled cheese for the grilled cheese club at my old office and different varieties. There are some interesting and like all of us we look for ways to like one up each other and find different things to do, and it was pretty fun and like got some pretty interesting grilled cheese out of that, which is why I want it's the main reason I want a sandwich press is so I can keep making incredibly pretentious grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
a
I want.
It's a gateway appliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first one that I made for the grilled cheese club was a 4-cheese grilled cheese. And it was
What cheese?
delicious.
What was in it? Tell us what it was.
It was like, oh, what was it? It was like, I think I had blue cheese, I had brie, I don't know where the other two were. I just found it online. I saved that recipe somewhere though. I say recipe. It's like 4 cheeses and like, get some bread. It was a brioche bread though, which was really nice. That's
Ooh,
the other thing.
fancy.
That's the other thing about the grilled cheese that I learned is you can really experiment with like your bread varieties.
That's true.
And, like, you
I
can
didn't
throw
think
some
about
fruit in
that.
there. I did that. You can put like some pear slices. It's
no.
actually delicious. No, it's actually delicious. Trust me. Trust me on
I
this one.
couldn't.
Trust
I
me.
couldn't.
Someday you're gonna come over here. You're gonna visit me. I'm gonna have a sandwich press. I'm gonna make grilled cheese with some fruit in it. You're gonna like it.
I don't want your French grilled cheese fruit.
I don't think the French put fruit in grilled cheese. This
No,
is
but
a
you're
me thing
French
that I
now.
found online.
So
I'm as French as you are. We went to the same school. We should probably talk about martial arts.
okay.
I don't know. What do you want? Do you want to talk? We can talk about grilled cheese this entire podcast. I'm fine with that. I'm just getting real hungry now. I'm gonna feed you a grilled cheese with the fruit in it though. I'd let you know.
Okay. We'll do. Okay, fine, we'll do it. But don't be
All right, cool.
surprised when I barf it up.
You won't.
So we had some pop culture. Pop culture. We had some things to address regarding some martial arts pop culture.
Don't get away from me there, didn't it?
Yes. So one of the things was you finally watched Shang Chi.
Finally did. I finally got around to
Yes.
it. Well, yes.
Yes, and then I also wanted the next time we came on here, I wanted to bitch about the last episode of Cobra Kai, season 4. Hang on, my dog's drinking. It might be excessively loud. Okay, but he's like, it might be, no. Season 4 Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bitch about it, but spoiler free.
Sure.
Just okay.
I had not seen any of Cobra Kai at all. And I was just talking to a buddy of mine who has seen all of it, and he likes it. And he did karate. It was karate, like when he was a kid. So
That's
he's
everybody.
watching it.
Literally everybody you talk to. I did karate when I was a kid. Someone
true.
said that to me today. Actually.
It's surprisingly, yeah, it's quite common. But yeah, I was talking to him about it because I was like, yeah, I mentioned that we're doing an episode on Cobra Kai for the podcast and how I hadn't seen any of it. So I was going into this just kind of, I'm going to be going based off of your recommendations and like what little I've seen online and heard about from friends like yourself and from him. He asked me what about it we're talking about. And all I knew was that you told me something about you were frustrated by season 4. And something about
Yes.
a tournament was frustrating to you. And I said that's all I know is that she's frustrated and that's what we're talking about. And so he was talking a bit about he tried to guess what you were frustrated about. and he mentioned that it is a very that in all the times he's been to tournaments, he has never once seen a tournament as theatrical or ostentatious as the one they have in the show.
Yes, that's
And
100% correct. What I wanted to bitch about. But
okay,
okay, okay, and it's like okay. I work in film and I do martial arts, so I can understand when things need to not make sense for entertainment value. But to
absolutely.
me, this last episode of Cobra Kai just like went over the top.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna like explicitly discuss things that like technical things that happened during this tournament because season 4 is leading up to a tournament. So the last episode, this tournament's finally happening. And just the way that the tournament works, like the mechanics of it, is like completely ridiculous. So it's like it doesn't even, it almost doesn't make sense when you're watching it. Like you can kind of suspend your disbelief and a little bit, but there's some points where it's like, well, what is that about? Why is that happening?
Okay, so
Anyways,
I almost want you to go into more detail, despite it being spoilery. I don't know.
no. I'm gonna go into more detail, but it won't
Okay, cool.
be spoily as far as like the plot line of it.
Excellent.
So the actual plot line of the season won't get spoiled because whatever. It's fine. Yeah. So it's specifically going to talk about this tournament. So this tournament finally comes in the last episode. And they keep talking about the tournament, like there's nothing else going on in the world. And they were all in this little bubble of the tournament, which is funny in itself. So then they finally get there. And, okay, here are things that I have personally never seen in tournaments that I feel like would never happen. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. And also I'm going to try to remember everything because it's been a while since I watched that last episode. But, so, right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is when everyone arrives, everyone who was a white belt, like a few episodes ago, are now a black belt. Everyone's wearing a black belt at this tournament.
Awesome.
And I'm
Carry
like,
on.
they all can't be Daniel-san who like shows up and then Mr. Miyagi like slips him a black belt, right? It's like, no, like there seems to be no in between.
Right.
And so
no,
this
I mean,
is like,
that's fair.
yeah, and then so I'm just like, okay, well this can't be good. So let's suppose for a second that they had the ranks that they're supposed to have. I saw there's this one fight where one of the brand new students is fighting one of the senior students, like a legit black belt. And they're in the same club. They're both from Cobra Kai.
Okay.
And they're different heights and ages. And the new one, who's supposed to be a white belt, is fighting this black belt. So I'm like, okay, do we, I can't remember, have we ever fought people from our own club at a tournament like that? Okay,
Yes.
so that's fine. So I wasn't sure about that, but the sizing difference and the rank, like sometimes you fight someone who's a different rank. Sometimes that happens, but not a white belt with a black belt 100%. That's not going to happen.
Certainly never a white belt with a black belt. Tournaments, 'cause I mean, obviously we've been to a lot, and I competed in a lot of tournaments. Did you ever really compete in a lot of tournaments? I don't remember. I know you helped out with a lot of them.
I did with it as a kid. I didn't like it.
Sure. Okay. There's never really been a height category. There's a weight. There's weight, age, and belt rank.
Well, weight definitely would have played a factor in this fight.
Okay. Yeah.
Because this kid was like it was like a teenager versus like maybe like a 11 or 12-year-old.
Sure.
Like
I
it was
do
insane.
I do remember, like, I've fought people. I've been in weight categories where I'm like 0.4 kilograms into the weight category. So I am like the lightest person. I am both the whitest and the lightest person in the age category and the weight category. And I think I do remember one fight, which I think was actually when I was a tournament at junior nationals, and quite unfortunately, again, this actually was the instance where I was zero point 0.4 kilograms into my weight category from the bottom. And my first fight was against the heaviest person in the weight category, and there was a noticeable size difference, a height difference between us.
That's terrible.
It was terrifying.
Did you win that fight?
Hell no. I do remember that what I came out with that fight. The thing that took away from that fight was that, if nothing else, I am very good at defense. It really solidified how I fight, because I think at that time too, normally I was a teenager, and I was starting to like that growth spurt part of my life where like I wasn't a short fighter anymore, but I wasn't quite yet a tall fighter. And so I didn't know how to fight as my height at the time.
Yeah.
But like I do remember that, like, yeah, if nothing else, I had a really strong defense game, and it had to go into overtime because I was not able to land a point on the other guy, but I also was able to keep my defense tight enough that he couldn't get a point on me. So I came out of that with at least knowing how to defend myself tournament wise, how to keep my guard up so that a much taller and heavier fighter couldn't score points. But that's really all I took away from that fight.
Well,
and a lot of bruises.
As long as you took something away from it, that's good.
I try to take something away from
it. Was useful in your journey.
Yeah, not to get too philosophical here, but yeah, I definitely try to take something away from every tournament match. Always something to take away. So that was
we should be more philosophical, because that's a cliche martial arts trope.
It is. Okay, so belt ranking was skewed. Didn't make sense.
Yeah. Sizing.
They seemed like they were in the wrong weight category.
Yes.
And what was the third one? Was what?
Okay. I don't think I said a third one.
Okay, I thought you did.
So a third one, I'm pretty. Again, now it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they mixed male and female.
Okay, yeah. Also, there's always the male division and the female division, but I've also actually, that's not entirely true. I think it also does depend on the tournament. I feel like I have actually. No, sorry, I have not sparred against someone. I've not sparred against a woman. I have done my forms divisions has been mixed.
Okay, well that makes more sense, but
I know I remember this specifically because there was a tournament where if it was either sparring or forms, I want to say forms, but I'm not sure. And I lost to a female competitor. And I remember it only because one of my students, who was like 11, 12, came up to me and was like, "You lost to a girl?" And I had to have that teacher moment of like, "Sorry to tell you this, bud, but she's really good. And women are, trust me, equally capable of doing this as you are, or better sometimes." So I had to have that teacher moment in the middle of trying to walk to the podium.
Aw, you just crushed that child's dreams.
I like to crush their misogyny, if I can.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I like to crush. Not their dreams. Dreams should stay intact. But if it's the wrong dream, I just want to redirect it a little bit.
Yeah, which is also fun.
Yeah, that is fun. Oh man, we could talk about that too. I got some stories about doing that a few times. It's been fun.
Something else I noticed, and I wasn't sure, but when I spoke to other people, they kind of cleared it up. But it's still a bit of an issue, is that when everyone showed up at this tournament, there seemed to only be Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do and the other random one that there's like 3 major clubs that are in this show by the time season 4 rolls around. So these are the only ones you're really seeing represented. But realistically, should be so many in the city. Yes. But there were like extras. Okay, so you see like extras kind of in the background if you're looking for it. Like, okay, I think that's another school, and maybe I saw like 2 other schools, but they weren't really represented. And so that was like, okay, so 5 give or take at best. And then but you're watching it and you're just watching like the main characters like just beat each other up. So it's just yeah.
And it's
and I
supposed
don't
to be
know
like
about
it's supposed to be like a really big, like noteworthy, like important.
yeah,
tournament,
everyone's lives seem to revolve around this tournament.
Is it set in like a really small town?
No, it's in LA. It's in the same town that he was in the first movie.
Okay.
So it's like our tournaments we did in Winnipeg were like way bigger than this. So it just didn't make any sense. And then there was one arena, like maybe some places do this depending on the size. But again, if the tournament's so big, why is there one ring where all these fights are going on? You know, and everyone's cheering. One ring. Yeah, only one ring, and then like the crowd, and the whole setting was like a it was like watching UFC, right? It's just like everyone's going crazy, and it's like this. I don't know. When usually like realistically you go to a tournament and it's just like parents watching their kid and their kid's done, and then they take off.
Yes.
But it was just like everyone's lives were just revolving around this tournament that was made up of like a handful of people with one ring in this little room. And and another thing too. Okay, I remember there didn't seem to be, and maybe I just missed it, so someone can correct me, or you can down the road when you watch this. There didn't seem to be any judges, and the like judges for the fight, which is how like they keep points and whatnot. I didn't see any judges, and there was like one ref there who seemed to be calling all the shots at all times. I was like, okay. And again, I'm like, and the basis for which he was making these decisions, like this person's just completely out. Like I couldn't keep track of like what actually constitutes a win, or if when the fight's actually over, and like the rules didn't seem consistent.
Right, it's just whatever the ref's whim is at that time.
Like it was just so, it was so bad, and like I said, I've never in my adult life, I'm not heavily involved in the tournaments besides like working them. But I have full confidence I could have organized a much better tournament than this by myself.
I mean, you and I had been part of organizing and running and working a fair amount of tournaments. Beyond doing tournaments and competing as them in them as well. That was the talking to my buddy who, I don't think he watches this podcast, but if he does, talking to my buddy Will about it. And one of the things he was saying too is like, yeah, kind of echoing what you said about like the show kind of, not sure if it's like doing this on purpose to make fun of itself, but like it's obviously a very like theatrical movie, over the top martial arts. But then like everyone apparently behaves in a way like they're acting like they're in a Karate Kid movie.
Yes.
Does that make 100%. Sense, right? And so he's talking about it, how like there's times where like what was it? He was talking about a scene where Johnny's in like some bar and he just storms out, just like throws money on the table and goes, and the bartender's like, this isn't enough money. And he comes back and he's like, sorry, yeah, I'll pay the debt. But like he's trying to be all dramatic and just like, boom, here you go, and leaves. But then it's come back and be like, sorry, that's not enough. And like apparently they're doing a whole bunch of things like that to like the characters still think they're like these teenage kids in like this, in like whatever mindset setting the first movies were in. Which I
100% like and that's why like I didn't want to like critique this too hard, but it just like the show is very self-aware, and it's like a parody of itself, and that's why it's so like that's the comedy of it, and that's why I like it. But like just that last episode, like I had to rip on it because it just didn't make sense. Like I
Wasn't
just
there?
feel like it didn't
Wasn't
make any it wasn't it wasn't in keeping with the theme of that type of comedy. I felt like it was over the top and too like everything's epic when it's not.
right?
But it's
Everyone's life for some reason revolves around this tournament that has no one important in it.
yeah, exactly. And it just I don't know, just the whole thing it wasn't in keeping with the plot line. I felt it's like
Sure.
why is this if this tournament is so important, then why is there zero structure to it and just stuff like because even in the movie there was like a more believable structure to those tournaments in the movie and stuff. Like even those like underground ones that, because I mean it's been a while since I watched those two, but it's like I think in the second one or something, it's more of a underground kind of unofficial tournament
Sure.
or so, I don't know if I
Do-
can recall.
do-
But even those things like just made more sense.
Do you think that it bugs you so like if you were watching this without being someone who has been so involved in martial arts for so much of your life, do you think if you watched it without that, you'd be able to suspend that disbelief a little bit easier and enjoy it more?
Like probably, but I also it's physically impossible to put myself in that mindset, right? I think
Yeah.
I think if you're the kind of person that like just like I'm trying not to I don't want to sound judgmental or anything, but like mindlessly like watches a show or a movie
Yeah.
and just for pure entertainment value, like for me, especially with Cobra Kai or like things like that, I'm analyzing the martial arts of it and the filmmaking aspect of it. Like I can't help it. That's just like that's just the way my brain works at this point in my life. So I
Yeah.
can't help it. So yeah, I can't imagine. So I can try my best to imagine that if I wasn't going in with any of that knowledge that I currently have and the lifestyle that I currently have, then yeah, I would just be able to kind of let it roll off a little easier. That said, I do feel like there were things that still wouldn't make sense.
Sure.
Especially when they're feuding, like the different schools feuding against each other. I feel like it would have made more sense if they weren't fighting students in their own school. Like if they're going to be totally ridiculous, they should only be fighting the enemies from the other schools,
Yeah, but
right?
I agree. But that. So again, I haven't seen the show, but it feels like if the point of the tournament is the feud, then you would have set up the tournament to be specifically one school versus another.
Yeah, I think that would
if
have
the
made
tournament-
way more sense.
Yeah, if the tournament is just a normal martial arts tournament, you get put into whatever bracket, which is why I've sparred with people from the same school, because like you're just in the same bracket,
Yeah.
and we had a guy we trained with for a long time who trained with us at our school, who was this very similar, but he was the same rank as me. We started at the same time. We were very similar body types and builds and heights, and there were lots of times we were in the same division. Because it's a tournament. No, that's at that point. It doesn't matter which school you're from. It's just making fights for your own enjoyment and for the people that have come to watch. But so yeah, it's if you go into a match with someone from the same school as you over a feud that you both have with another school, then it starts to get dicey.
Yeah, like the whole series is based on these feuds all the time. So I feel like if they're gonna make a tournament and everything's leading up to a friggin' tournament all the time, I feel like it would make more sense for entertainment value to just have them fight the other students from other schools, even though in real life that's not a thing. So I'm thinking adding that extra stupid thing would have made more sense.
Yeah.
With the plot line of the show.
what are the like if they're going into this tournament with a feud? Maybe this is too spoilery. Let me know if it is. But what are the stakes? Like, does one of them like give up their school to the other? What's the stakes here? Or is it just like we're better than you? Yeah.
I think it was just bragging rights.
Awesome.
Oh, you know what? No, I think. Okay, this might be a spoiler. Skip ahead a few minutes if you don't want to hear the spoiler.
I will
But
wave my arms
believe-
around on the video version with the spoilers done.
Okay. Okay. Well, what can I tell you? I don't think it's not that big. It's
That's
fine.
Go ahead.
So I think whoever won the tournament absorbs the other school or something like that. I believe there was something like that going on because Johnny wanted Cobra Kai back because the other instructors took it from him. So he's like, "Oh, if I win, then I get it back." I believe that happened.
Okay.
I really stopped caring at that point. But that said, I will keep watching it when they put out more seasons.
I'm gonna wave now so we can watch the show again.
Nice.
Yeah. I also want to touch on the fact that fuse between schools is really not a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
feel like
I know. How often have you and me been walking down the street? We run into kids from another school,
Yeah.
and then we just fight in the middle of the street by the dumpster and do parkour.
You know what? Like I think like 8-year-old me who wanted to get into martial arts felt like that would happen a lot more in my life than it did.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've never been in a physical altercation. I have a couple close calls, but
Yeah, well, that's
I also
just
think that
part
has
of living
has
in
some.
Winnipeg.
Well, yeah, I also feel like it has something to do with being a girl, because
Oh yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
I don't know,
unfortunately, but
Yeah, well, a lot of girls or a lot of guys I know have some sort of story about getting in a fight, and I'm just like, geez,
I am not one of them.
that's good. That's good to hear.
I've always, I know, especially with our school and where we grew up, you and I think we knew a lot of kids growing up who always like, oh yeah, I got into this fight or did this, and every time I remember thinking to listening to their story about the build up to the fight, and every time I remember thinking to myself, right there, that's the point where I would walk away,
Yeah,
and just not get into the fight. Like there's always
exactly.
and again, like same as you, I've had obviously scenarios because of Winnipeg, I guess. Unfortunately, I love Winnipeg, but unfortunately, people get into fights in Winnipeg. It happens everywhere, but
There's definitely a trashy aspect to
there
Winnipeg.
are certain parts of Winnipeg we had to be a little more careful. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And as an adult, sometimes you have to go to those sketchier areas.
Well, it's not
so
even
there's
areas,
definitely-
just like certain like, I don't know, just like situation. I don't know. It's complicated. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just part of being an adult. I think in the real world that sometimes you're just in scenarios where that are a little bit sketchier than others. So I mean, I've definitely been in scenarios where it's like, I have to be aware of what's happening, keep my distance,
Yeah.
choose the right words to not escalate something. Like that's happened just because I'm an adult and have to sometimes live an adult life and buy things off Kijiji or whatever. But yeah, like especially growing up, like there'll always be those kids, or like my favorite was when two kids would like schedule a fight with each other in high school.
Yeah. That was very UFC. The fact that all the build up was more exciting or took longer than the actual fight. And it was like it was like more about that than it was actually about a fight. And like I never actually saw any of these fights.
I did.
You did?
I wouldn't call them fights. Because it's always between two people that didn't know how to fight or what to do, and it just kind of became.
So like, okay, doing a reenactment.
It's a lot of like just waving haymakers. A lot of this thing. Yeah.
Like the inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Yes. Oh. I kind of want to get like a red one and a blue one, and just put them next to each other and have them fight.
Red and blue, that's very political of you.
I was thinking about the mats for Taekwondo schools, but if you want to get political, I mean, we don't live in the U.S., so it's not As
We don't have that? I thought we had that too. I thought
but
we had it, but it's the other way around.
well, that's true. That's true. But also, I don't want to get too political on this podcast, but I mean,
That's what we're about.
the Canadian political system has its flaws. is not perfect, but it's also quite different than the American one that you are referring to. With typically you have either red or blue, and that's about it.
You should get at least one that says that has your Northern Spirit logo on it, and put it outside your garage gym, and be like, bah, he's
I don't
flailing
have a
all
logo
around.
yet. My wife's working on a logo.
Well, your font right now is your logo.
It's true.
Anyway, so when you have like a logo that you like, put it on the flailing tube man, and that could be your sign.
I'll get two of them and they can fight.
Yeah. Well, they need legs though. Then
It'll be a slap fight. It'll be one of those high school fights that the other kids got into that I just watched with a bag of popcorn, being like, "Why am I here?"
come train with Master Thomas and learn how to catfight. I want your review on Shang Chi.
I can do it really quick. It was awesome.
Wow.
No,
I want likes and dislikes.
Dislikes. I have to think about that. I don't. I try to not set a bar too high for most things when I'm going into films. Like I set a very flexible bar of like I'm going into most films wanting to be entertained.
That's a good plan.
And if I come out of it entertained, then it did its job.
Ooh, this is exactly how I went in. I went to go see Scream 5.
No.
And that's exactly the mindset I needed to go in with because I knew it was going to be stupid.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
It's just like it's a fun slasher movie, and I was like, that's all I want, and that's all that's going to happen, and that's exactly right. Like you just take it for what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you left satisfied. Right?
Yes, especially because the main character had the same name as me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Very cool. Like, but yeah, that's my usual mindset for a lot of these things. Like, I haven't seen the new Mortal Kombat film yet, and I really want to.
Me either. I should watch that.
We
should watch that and do a late review on it.
Why not? We talked about it too. We had an episode about like things we were anticipating.
Yeah.
And I think the logical
second
step of that, I watched some of them. I think the logical second step of that would be to talk about them once we have seen them, since we were anticipating them. We haven't done that episode. We should do that. But Shang-Chi was on that list of things we were anticipating. And no, it actually, with that one, I did want a little bit more than just to be entertained, because I am a huge Marvel fanboy, for lack of a better term. I grew up reading mostly Marvel comics, and there's some of my favorite stories are from Marvel, and so I love what they're doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it's really, really well done and well put together, and it's taking all the fun that I have from a kid to even now reading the comics and making it visual in a more film visual kind of way, which I love. I love the storytelling. I love the aesthetics, and so I wanted them to keep that. But I really wanted to see the martial arts side of this character, because Shang-Chi is obviously an important part of his character, of his background, of his story. Is he's in a lot of the comics. The older Shang-Chi comics was just called Master of Martial Arts, and so that's a huge thing about it. So I wanted that good, well choreographed, well done, kind of old style martial arts movie feel. And so I feel like they really skirted that line in such a beautiful way of like, at times it felt like I was watching almost like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
But I still had all the adventure and the fun and the storytelling that I'm used to with Marvel films. And it was this really fantastic blend of the two of them for myself.
Yeah. And I'd like to add too that it's like, okay, so I haven't watched a lot of the Marvel films, because I just personally think a lot of them, the plot lines are convoluted, and you should be able to go into a single one and enjoy it without having to see the other 5 and stuff like that. Which I really liked about this one, is that although there are connections to the other ones, you don't feel like you're left out.
Yeah.
if you, like I didn't feel left out or anything, or like what's going on there. I just probably didn't pick up on as much stuff as you did. So I like that about it.
Yeah, like, they did. You're right. Like, there's definitely the little Easter eggs here and there that I was picking out. That was like, oh, that's really cute. That's really cool. That's fun to see this. Not just things that have been shown in other movies, but kind of references just to other parts of the Marvel universe that I'm familiar with from the comics that were, they're alluding to in the films. So there's a thing that for someone like myself who is so into the Marvel universe, they have that, as well as, like you said, not alienating people that aren't as into that side of the stories.
Yeah.
But I'm having trouble with the second part there with the drawbacks. Like it was, I don't know. Like it was
if there were none for you, then there were none.
I can't even think of any at the moment. I think just because like the things that I wanted to see, like it got the things that specifically that I was looking for.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a thing that was like, I want to see this, and I didn't see it.
That's good.
So I mean, yeah, for me it was great. I mean.
And is that on Disney Plus right now?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where I also recently watched The Eternals.
Oh, I saw that too.
It's good. It's fun. I liked it.
Me too, but I wanted more Angelina.
Apparently, she was CGI from the shoulders down.
I believe that 100% because I felt like there's something going on there. Why? Why do you know why?
I think it had to do with her. So I think it was only when she was in her like hero, the outfit, the hero costume.
Yeah.
I think there was like something to do with changes to the costume design, I guess.
Oh, weird.
Or something on those. I didn't read the whole article because I lost interest.
Who cares?
But but I did think it was interesting that like basically every time she's in that silvery kind of heroish outfit, that she's basically CGI from neck down, or from below the neck.
Yeah. So okay, so that one had a bit too much CGI for my liking. But there were characters in it that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was also a little too long, I felt. I feel like it could have been like half an hour less and I would have liked it more.
I understood why it was so long. For me, it was fine because the Eternals are one of those characters I don't know a lot about. I know a little bit about them. So I didn't mind it because I was like, yeah, this is a fun way for me to figure out who these characters are without reading all of the comics on the Eternals.
What about the new Spider-Man?
Oh my god, that was amazing. I will not.
I watched it. I know who Doctor Strange is now.
Is that your first? Is that the first time you saw Doctor Strange?
Yeah. Well, I saw him in that movie where he's a mathematician for the Nazis or something.
So that's not Doctor Strange then. That's someone else.
That's Benedict Cumbersnatch. It's the same thing.
I think the Doctor Strange films are worth you watching because they do a similar thing, I think, where they're disconnected from the rest of the Marvel movies. You don't really have to understand.
Really?
I think you'd enjoy that one. That one's fun.
Cool. I did really love this Spider-Man. Okay, now we're on a tangent again, but that's okay. I love this Spider-Man because I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Yes. So obviously, it's like bringing it all back. So, the nostalgic vibes. I loved it.
I did. Spider-Man has always been one of my favorite Marvel comic book characters. And like, yeah, Sam Raimi ones were great. I've loved all of them.
I have not seen any of the Tom. This is the only one I've seen where Tom Holland is playing Spider-Man.
You haven't seen any of his other films?
No, I only saw Andrew Garfield and the Sam Raimi ones. And then,
yeah.
So it was, but with them all together like this, I came away from the movie realizing, I'm like, oh my God, that new Spider-Man is the dumbest of the Spider-Mans. It's like, no. They get progressively dumber. Like the Peter Parker character gets progressively dumber with each new Spider-Man movie, I feel like. He just keeps making these really awful decisions. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like that part of it's funny and entertaining, but it's also cringy.
As you were talking about the whole like the thing with Strange's spell to.
Yeah. And then he's like, don't. What did he say? Oh yeah, he's like, oh, we need to rehabilitate all the criminals. I'm like, they're already dead. Just listen to him. Leave them alone. Send them back to their world. Just send them back. Listen to him. I actually liked
that. I liked that, actually, that he wanted to do that. Partially because it does actually fit with his character in the comics.
It was such a pain. I'm like, what's done is done, and these people don't exist to you.
Yes, so but his point... But that's the thing about Spider-Man. He's supposed to be caring, like, everyone gets a chance. Everyone should get a chance. Everyone should...
They had a chance, and they screwed it up.
But they didn't.
They had their chance, and they screwed it up.
But they had an opportunity to give them another chance, and that's always been Spider-Man's character. Is like, if I can give you one more chance, I will do it.
At the cost of my hot aunt.
Things always go in Spider-Man's favor. Like that story.
Okay, but you know what? I can't remember.
Awesome. Good talk.
I got very boiled up about something, and then I'd like to totally just
so
disappear.
Excited it just evaporated from your mind. I thought the movie was great, though. I will not lie that I did tear up a little bit in that film in No Way Home.
Huh, gay. Just kidding. Yeah, I did when I got like choked up when I saw Willem Dafoe like fly in. And I was like, ah! And then I got and then Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there he is! Oh my god! I couldn't handle it.
Looking back at the Raimi films, as much as I love them,
I just rewatched them.
Doesn't it feel like rewatching it now as an adult though? Like Maguire was 26 years old in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back, I feel like it's obvious that he's 26 and not 17.
That's true of all movies that are made back then. Like every single movie where it's a teenagers in high school setting, they're all in their mid to late 20s. Up until like recent years, I feel like. In the past maybe 5 years at best.
Yeah, because Tom Holland was he was pretty young with the first time that he was cast as Spider-Man for Civil War.
Yeah, and he still looks like he definitely looks. If they told me in this movie he was like 16, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like he's 22. Real actual age, I think he's about 22, 23.
Yeah, but I think they have to be, for when they do like kissing scenes and stuff like that, they have to be like over 18, at least.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Or just other random stuff like that where it's just easier to have an adult. But what older movies, like up until recently, like I said, like high school students are played by old ass people.
Yeah. But no.
Like that guy, like Flash from the Sam Raimi ones. Remember Flash?
Was
that his name? Was that his name? He was like gonna beat him up.
Yeah,
like,
it's
that
Joe
guy looked like
Manganiello.
He looked like he was, like when you watch Grease and you're like, these people are 35 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was like. It was so funny.
So I actually follow Joe. I cannot say his name. Joe Manganiello, I think it's very Italian. I don't know how to say it. The guy that played Flash Thompson in the Raimi film. Because he still does acting, whatever. I follow him though mostly on I follow him online, not in person, because he's a giant nerd. He plays Dungeons and Dragons, and he has a room in his house that's apparently supposed to be. I think it was built as like a big wine cellar, and he converted it into a Dungeons and Dragons room.
That's cool.
And I absolutely love it.
Thank you for listening to the High Frequency Kicks podcast. Remember to subscribe on your favorite streaming service and give us a like.